Welcome to our live coverage of the 2019 BDO World Championships. Glen Durrant versus Mark McGrath is our opening game this evening. And as he begins his lakeside defense, the champ inevitably has only one thing on his mind.
I feel good, I'm ready. There's only one thing I really want, and that's to be a three-time BDO Lakeside champion.
To play somebody like Glen, I need to be aggressive, attack it. That's usually my game.
I'll study Mark McGrath. Clearly, the guy can play darts, but I will do my preparation on him. Is he fast? Is he slow? And I'll get ready for him that way.
I'm always a fighter. I never give in. I'll bring that to the stage tonight and show what I can do.
If someone's going to beat me, they're going to have to average close to 100.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of our Prince Charles organisation, welcome to the 2019 Lakeside World Championships. We continue with the first round here at the home of World Darts, the Lakeside. We now introduce to the stage a winner of 3 BDO ranking titles last year. He's our New Zealand regional qualifier, the Cowboy, Mark McGrath.
So let's begin. Welcome y'all to Party 101. So you think you got jam? You wanna be the man? Step right up and come and get some. I'll get it done. Last fall is the last one drawn. Knock around more, don't spill your glass. Keep it down, suck it up. Ain't no such thing as a way too much. All beginners, get up off your ass. Cowboy up.
We now introduce the world number 1, the former 2-time Winmore World Masters champion and reigning BDO World Trophy champion. He's the reigning 2-time Lakeside World Champion, England's Dozer Glen Durrant.
The champ is here. 2-time champion Dozer of Middlesbrough has got a lot of support here. A lot of I was going to say Sunderland. I was going to get a lot of tweetage about that one. Middlesbrough. Only joking, Glenn. Only joking. 48-year-old from Middlesbrough. Very proud of it too, against Mark McGrath, the 50-year-old, who came into some lovely country music, which I was very much digging as he graced the stage. But today is a very important day in the career of Glen Durrant, because this whole crusade of trying to get this 3rd consecutive Lakeside title, it's very important to him. But I think, Tony O'Shea, that he coveted the 3 World Masters in a row, and he came a cropper there against Mr. Ratajski. is this another mental hurdle too far?
I actually think this is like 10 times above that, the pressure he's going to be under this week. To win that, it's been done once, the mid-80s won it, Bristow, bless him. And I think even though in the interview he was really cool and he looked so calm, he gave a great interview, that is going to get in the back of his mind probably every single match he plays this week.
I think the good thing for Glenn this evening really is that all of the talking is now over. Now he can actually go and do his own job and just do the thing that he's best at. And unquestionably in the BDO, this is what he's definitely the best that you have to offer here, and he starts this evening's proceedings.
As you said, day 5 of the tournament, he makes his debut in the event this year, and it's a long time to wait, to be honest. He's seen everyone else get up there. He's seen some of the seeds struggle. He's going to be on the back of his mind.
I don't think it's a bad thing being the number 2 seed and waiting a few days to get into the event. I was talking to Chris Mason about this yesterday. If you can condense a tournament into 5 days as opposed to 9, that says to me that you can concentrate all of your abilities and just go for it. You don't have to think too much. Let's take Mark McGeaney, for instance. Played on Saturday afternoon, and he's had a lot of time to think about his next challenge. Whereas that's all over for Glenn now. He's playing darts against someone. He's very dangerous, and he can just crack on now.
Well, you just said there, condensing it, and that's exactly what he's done. He's got 5 nights. Tonight's the first one of them, and like you say, if he gets in his form straight away, then it's going to be a quick week for him. Like you say, Mark's been here for ages already. Only played the 1 game.
140.
Durrant did say that if anyone wants to beat him, they're going to have to average in 3 figures. We haven't had a 100 average in a game this week, but Wayne Warren did average very close. He got up towards 97. That was a great performance, and I put him as the favourite against Hunter Buckner next. I don't know what you guys at home think, but I think Wayne Warren's here to really spoil the party. 101 after 12 darts. It's a steady start for Glenn.
I was pretty impressed with Scott Mitchell this afternoon. It was a real steady and easy-looking 95 average for me, and he's only going to get better, I think, through the tournament. So that 100 average that Glenn was on about, I think that could easily come from Mr. Mitchell at some point in the event.
Yeah, I think you're right. Mitchell was very impressive. That's a wide from Glenn, and look how angry he is in the first leg of the match. You can tell that he wants to be focused from dart 1 all the way to a potential championship winning dart. So he'll be livid with that 5 when he was looking at the middle of the 12.
There wasn't too much damage done, though. He's left his 32, probably his favourite double on the board.
That's got to be a good guide. Is he blocked by that flight potentially? Now, misses at doubles for Glenn. Leave McGraw with 100. Don't think he's going tops. It's double 10. Oh, that's a wide, really. Not close. Durrant can't afford to miss this time.
He's usually lethal on this double 8.
Great switch across the board. Maybe not the leg he was looking for, but he got the chalk mark anyway. And Tony Mason and I were talking this afternoon about that very remark, chalk mark, or chalking it up. You'll know all about the game when it was all about blackboards and chalk.
Yeah, standing in 2 foot of chalk after a long day on the hockey. I think my first ever dartboard I put up in a spare dart room, and I used blackboard chalk on the wall. Might be his first 180, yeah? Just as we pipe in there. And I actually used to just chalk on the wall. It was a bare bedroom with a dartboard and a little patch of black paint on the wall that I used as the chalk.
And were you a fan of chalk on your hands, or was it one of those things that you hated?
In them days, there was no choice.
Right.
There was no choice.
Of course, these days, it's all about computers on the lakeside stage. They have monitors to their left that they check their scores on. where they can see their score and the opponent's, of course. In a lot of places these days you see whiteboards with black markers which you can wipe away, not having to use paper. So good for the environment.
58.
But I still used to think it looked so smart when you've got a chalker either side. Many years ago, obviously the first time I came here, they all had red jackets on. They looked really smart.
Not to mention, there used to be a guy
60.
in a box. You see where the table is on the stage? Just in front of that, as you look at the stage, there was a box there with a guy sat in it, and he used to put pins in this very large dartboard that had holes in it, and it was to signify to the crowd where the dart was landing. It's called doing the pins.
Pins, exactly. And there used to be about a second delay each pin you put in as well.
Imagine with the quick players these days, they wouldn't have time.
44.
You'd have to employ an octopus to work in that box in a modern game of darts.
That's it. 77 for Glenn when he returns. McGrath's not going to take the 144.
100.
You've got to think that Glenn's going to go treble 19. 18 for tops. No miss on the single this time.
57.
A little bit of a shovey one, that one.
Mark, you require 44.
I think it might be 1-1 in a second. Double 16 for the Kiwi. Taking his time.
12.
Too much time, maybe. And Durrant is,
20.
hopefully for him, going to be taking advantage of those misses. He does. Right in the corner. In my own terms, I would say that's a Juninho penalty just inside the post.
I had a little chat to Mark in the room. He looked so confident. He had nothing to lose, he told me. But when you get them little chances, somebody like Glenn gives you a little chance like that, you can't refuse it.
140.
Well, one thing that's got to be going through Mark McGrath's mind is that only a few months ago, he was playing an event in New Zealand and he beat Michael Smith. One of the best players on the planet. He beat Michael Smith. So those kind of confidence boosts you've got to take up against players like Glenn Durrant, surely.
I said very, very similar to him in the back room, as I was saying. I talked to him 10 minutes ago. And he actually said the stage
46.
there was huge. This place is nothing like that stage he played in that Masters event. He couldn't believe how tight it was in here, and it's such a difference. And he preferred the big open stages.
Well, Lakeside has its own beautiful charm. And we have seen people grace the stage this week who have not felt comfortable. But one thing we know about Glenn is that he's very comfortable here.
140.
He's looking solid. He may not be on his A game right now, but he's doing enough, and I think he understands the concept of just doing enough in round one and then kicking it up a notch after that.
All about little improvements. He's got 5 matches to play if he's going to go all the way. If he improves every single match, then obviously he's going to finish with a fantastic weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it's only a 88 average now. He's still in first gear.
99.
Well, if he doesn't win the title this week, I'm sure he will get a phone call from his accountant saying, where's the usual 100 grand check every January? What a horrible problem to have.
I've never had that problem ever, so it's never bothered me.
Glenn, you require 76.
Once that mantle's dusted, he'll want to put that trophy back on it. It's double 8 for the first set. That is exactly what he meant to do in leg 1 on double 8. But that was a beautiful 76 out, wasn't it, Tony?
Yeah, that's the finishing from Duzza we're used to. As I said, he's pretty lethal on that double 8. It's not very often he misses it. That was spot on, right in the middle.
Yeah, it's a steady set of darts there. 51 darts, so even 17s. And that's good enough for winning that set 3-0. Does Mark McGrath believe enough in himself that he can lift his standard and take out Duzza? But I get the feeling, Tony, that this set we will see a gradual improvement from Glenn, maybe averaging around the 94-95 mark.
Well, he's not a million miles away now, and as you say, he's going to improve in the next couple of sets for definite.
85.
Doesn't matter who you are, you're always nervous them first few legs, and it was obvious there.
You can talk to people like yourself who've been here so many times. Wolfie, you know, the likes of Hanky in
77.
previous years, even the old greats like Bristow, Taylor, Priestley, John Lowe. Every first game, they all felt a little bit edgy. You've got to play your way
100.
into the tournament.
Steady improvements.
Those are, of course, one of a lesser crop these days that use the pear-shaped flight.
57.
A lot more guys use the standard bigger shape because it gives you a bit more forgiveness in the air, doesn't it?
Modern technology with darts equipment, it boggles the mind. I mean, I'm old school. I still throw the
60.
reseal flights from the 70s, but some of the equipment you can get these days is just unbelievable. I think they use wind tunnels and everything to develop this sort of stuff these days.
Yeah, the same sort of thing that car manufacturers use for aerodynamics.
140.
I think there are young kids out there who will use anything and everything that is new. Well, it doesn't matter whether it's new or old, fat or thin,
100.
yellow, purple, white or
Weighing
black,
require
just use
127.
what works. And Glenn hasn't changed much about his equipment in the last few years because it's been working. Treble 19 now. Just checking to see what McGrath is on. He needs the treble 19 and Bull. What he has done is left the
55.
two-darter
Mark, you
and
require
forced McGrath to take out
115.
this 115 for the leg.
Yeah, expected a bit more pressure on this. Can't go out now.
You can see him just exhaling there, just trying to get rid of a bit of tension. Didn't scare that 19 at
47.
all. When you hit a 7, you're snookering yourself and you're forcing. You're not forcing your opponent, you're hoping your opponent makes mistakes. Double top, and it's not a mistake. It's a fourth consecutive leg for Glenn Durrant.
Second leg
And the
to
script
go first.
is
Game
being
on.
read right now. It's not being ripped up.
His actual expression's not changed from the first leg. Total confidence there.
137.
It's a beautiful thing, confidence, isn't it, when you've got it? It's almost like you're flying a little bit. You can do anything you want.
He give a steely look there to some of his fans. It was probably Dennis, his right-hand man.
100.
Yeah, he's been here through all the highs and lows. And we mustn't forget, you know, before Glenn took those 2 titles the last couple of seasons, he had
40.
2 very, very big, heartbreaking games. And it's one thing we haven't really talked about this week yet. He went through a really heartbreaking game with Scott Waits the previous year and
85.
lost out to Wolfie in one of the semi-finals that we will talk about for the rest of our lives. So he went through the tough side first and then came out shining. It's a testament to what Glenn's all about.
85.
That was Dennis there on the right-hand side, clapping away. But he's like, he shows all the emotion. Glenn looks so cool. It's him that suffers out there. As most
60.
of our wives who watch us play, we know what they're going through.
Yeah, it's definitely easier to be in the commentary box. The good thing about playing is that you are in control of what you're doing.
Exactly. There's something you can
85.
actually do about it if you're in the form, that is.
Glenn's average hasn't really improved in this set, but it hasn't had to. So
134.
I know he's been
When you require
practicing a lot in the
154.
club down the road in Frimley. It's a slightly different atmosphere here this evening. He's not as sharp as I thought he would be at this point, but
54.
it doesn't matter as long as he gets the W. Leaves 100. I think that's smart. Forcing McGrath to get 4 18s in Bull. Can he see that treble? There's your answer. Can he see the ball? Oh, he poked its eye out. What a beautiful finish.
Third leg mark to throw first. Game on.
He's got some support as Mark. I wonder if those guys are from Essex, where he played county, Leeds, where he's originally from, or from New Zealand. Now, I, personally, am not going to criticise anybody who has different nationality, being from a different country, because that's exactly what my situation is. Look at that. 3 red bits for the man in red. What's the next tournament for you, Tony? Dutch Open?
Yeah, we've got the Dutch coming up. There's a couple of exhibitions before that. We've got a big show at the O2 Arena, actually, on the 19th. There's obviously Q School coming up before that even, and yeah, there's plenty on the calendar, as usual.
57.
Never a dull moment here. He can't count. Well, you're in the crowd, mate. You can use a calculator. The only people who can't use a calculator are the referee and the players.
81.
There's actually events abroad where you see them playing in tournaments. They actually use the phones instead of using the marker boards next to the board. I've seen it with my own eyes. Again, that would be the younger players.
94.
Yeah, it's one of those parts of the game that the younger players are really good at these days. But there are a few people who utilise the referee a little bit more, and there's nothing wrong with that, of course. And young players we will see in a couple of days.
40.
Nathan Gervin of Scotland has been hovering around. He's got a big game on Thursday against Leighton Bennett. And Durrant was looking for that 170. He knows how to hit those on the Lakeside stage.
93.
It's worth £5,000 if you can hit it. McGraw on 180. There's only one number he's thinking of right here, isn't it?
That's a 140. A little low with that first dart, though.
85.
Yeah, that'll have to
They
do.
require 77.
It's not a guarantee that Glenn's going to get this 77. We will have a dart at tops for it to be so.
37.
A little bit over the bar. And McGraw,
Mark, you require 95.
where'd you go? Treble 19 here or bull?
Myself, it'd be a bullseye, but I think he's looking at the bull. That's the problem with that. You've got to hit a second treble if you're missing that treble 19.
47.
You're not guaranteeing
Lane
yourself a
require 40.
shot. Durrant for 2-1 in the second set.
Game show
Not a
over.
problem.
Williams.
A lot of guys these days on 95 and those types of shots
Game on.
are going for the treble 19, but if they miss it and get the single, they'll actually go for 2 double 19s. It's very similar to having 100, missing the treble 20, and then going for 2 tops. Same principle. Third 180 for Glenn. And when you're hitting 180s at the start of legs, that's really forcing your opponent into backing you up. He's done well there.
100.
I really thought that was going to go into the treble 20, that third dart, but it's just ricocheted off.
Going back to that double-double, it's actually a massive target compared to a bullseye. I mean, I said I'd go for the bull. Sometimes it's maybe easier to leave at least one dart at the bull. But like you said, it's a bigger target, the doubles.
Yeah, I think these days, because of the few chances that you get against good players,
60.
you've got to create outs for yourself. More ways to get that leg in the bank. And I think, we'll take 95 as the example. Getting that treble 19 and double, that's a no-brainer. But if you get the single,
134.
going for the treble 20, I think is the wrong shot.
Yeah, basically, you're throwing down at the same segment you've just thrown your first dart. I get that. A couple of double 18s has been used quite regularly in the...
Yeah, I like that one. Especially on 92, if you go single 20, double 18, double 18. But Glenn now, 17 for double 18, will solidify this second set. Not a problem. Doesn't even look at his opponent, doesn't look at the referee, doesn't look at his fans. He's purely focused. And boy, is he happy with a 2-0 lead going into this small interval. The best player in the BDO is getting the job done, and he's only one set away from the next round. Well, it's pretty much half time, and Middlesbrough 2-0 up. And that lovely last leg from Duzza on double 18 ensured that he fulfilled the prophecy of the asset, that he would bring his average in that set to about 95. It was 95.2, and his match average has gone to 92.08. That's much better from Duzza. He's improving set on set, like you said, Tony.
Well, most people would be really happy with that 92 average now, and I'm sure Duzza would be disappointed with it. It was only that last leg that actually brought the average up, but I think, obviously, it's going to be a home win tonight. You were talking about the football. I think it's definitely going to be a home win.
Yeah, it should feel like home for Duzza now, because he's won the trophy the last couple of years, of course. And one thing I wanted to mention to you, Tony, was sometimes when you have important games like this, you know, life does throw the odd thing at you and you can be distracted. I know there's a lot of people in the back, there's fans, family. Is it really hard to forget stuff that's going on in your life when you've got this big game? 480 for Glenn.
Great 180. But obviously, it's going to be in the back of your mind. I mean, that's life. You know, people have problems, and whatever it is, you've got to try and get out there and concentrate on your game in hand, but it's difficult at times.
I've always thought that darts, especially practicing, is a really good way of forgetting about things and just focusing on something else. I've always found practice and matches particularly to be quite therapeutic.
Well, something else I've noticed, again, and probably started abroad, so many players now seem to play with personal music boxes attached to them, you know, with the headphones on. They lock themselves away and try and be on their own little world. That seems to be popular at the moment as well.
Are you the kind of person who would be doing that? Or are you more of a having a bit of banter with the lads kind of guy?
I'm old school, mate. You know I am, from the 70s and 80s.
65.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Duzza doing everything right. And he started this set very well. He's got Mark McGrath on the ropes. Now he's just got to measure him up and finish him off, really. 116. So he can find a 60 to the right of that dart, like that, to leave double 18 just inside. And Glenn's darts do land with a slight kink to the left. So he had plenty of room to the right there, just to go slightly high into the right. But what do you do here? Do you split or do you go straight for it?
Well, you just said it there, the way his dart lies. I mean, it looks perfect for a double 9, but you'll probably split it. Yep. 10 double 4.
Desmond. Ooh, he's in a madhouse. Won't be happy that he hasn't killed this leg off quickly. But it'll take a bit of brilliance. Mark McGrath. Isn't going to happen. That is the biggest finish of the week so far from Willem Mandegers and Christoph Kachuk.
40.
Doesn't matter whether it's 160 or 2, as long as you get the leg. Yeah, no problem. He obeyed the rules of the madhouse.
1 over, 1 in.
Yeah, as soon as you go to the madhouse, there's a little sign outside that says, get the first dart just above, and the second one goes in. If you obey the rules, you will always win.
96.
Madhouse not so mad for Glenn. What's your favourite double, Tony?
Double 16. Every day of the week.
I've spoken to a lot of players about that, you know, and my favourite is a Welsh player called Johnny Clayton. His favourite double is double 1.
Strange.
Yeah, it is, because he's a fabulous dart player. And I said to him in reply,
140.
how many times do you find yourself on double 1, Johnny?
It shouldn't be that often, really. Like you say, he's a great dart player.
Absolutely.
I don't know anyone who's actually thrown darts to deliberately leave double 1.
Yeah, lovely 180, a fifth from Glenn. And one of the people he used to look up to, Phil Nixon, his favourite double was double 7. Nobody hit it like him. Former finalist, of course, 12 years ago. It really was 12 years ago.
How's that flown by?
Time flies when you're having fun. And right now, Glenn's having fun. Brilliant, a 6 180. And he needed that to get himself a little bit of an advantage. McGrath's had a much better leg. He's on 160 again. He's getting closer. Great darts from the Kiwi to leave himself on tops. Forces Durrant, and he's going bull on 95, Tony.
He's now going 2 double tops, I think.
Now, can McGrath get himself back in this set? Much better leg. Tops it is. Good line. Not a good line. Ouch.
Well, he threw that double tops there for a nice 13 dart. That would have filled him with confidence for the rest of the match, but unfortunately misses out again.
I can see that kink of the dart. He cannot see 80% of that double 10. He's got to go over the top.
20.
Blocked it. Didn't expect Glenn to miss there. McGraw's had plenty of practice on tops. Getting closer. He's in there. With the 5th attempt, he gets tops and squares it up at 1-1 in this set. He'll not be happy, Mark, with a 78 average in this game. Well, like you said, Tony, it's not really about the stats. And we know Glenn is a bit of a stat-o. He won't be happy with a 90 average either.
No, I don't think he'll be looking back through the history book about this game, but as long as he wins, as we said earlier on, it doesn't matter. They don't remember averages, they remember winning titles.
121.
Chris Mason keeps saying they don't write averages on trophies. One of the truest statements I've ever heard.
Well, if we ever win one, I'll have a Luke.
96.
What Glenn will be happy about, the amount of 180s that he's hit. He's got 6. Mark hasn't got any.
Yeah, in flashes, he's played some nice darts. But that's what it has been, just flashes of inspiration he's had.
It's been a strange old week for Mark because he was drawn against Adam Smith-Neale, who will it be a 7th? Is that touching the board?
140.
It is. The point of the dart has to be touching the sisal of the board to be registered as a score. That was definitely touching, because I never doubt Anthony Dundas. That is a 180 for Mark McGrath.
Talking about the Smith-Neale game, it probably didn't do him any favours because, unfortunately for Adam, he just wasn't at the races for obvious reasons. I don't think he did Mark any favours, and normally if you play a prelim game, you think you've got a slight advantage because you've had a game there, you've experienced it.
McGrath can't take the 145. But he's done the next best thing. He's applied the pressure on this 47. And Glenn does like double 16. He does usually. And he likes it now as well. That's a brilliant leg. And going back to that point, I think you've hit the nail on the head, Tony. Because I think the game with Adam Smith-Neale, it was a gimme really, because Adam was never really going to be playing his best game.
140.
And I think Martin Adams said earlier in the week that yes, it's nice to have an easy game and win the match, but you really need to be tested at some point to really get you going, and he wasn't tested against Adam, and maybe he's not battle-hardened for this particular test.
Yeah, when you're playing our best player at the moment, then you've got to be at your best, and unfortunately, that didn't set him up for tonight. I mean, going back to Adam Smith-Neale, you've got to feel for him. He was probably in the form of his life. He'd just won the World Masters. He was playing well. Obviously, making his debut at the late side, he must have been gutted when he had the accident.
I can imagine. Speaking of gutted, I wonder if Glenn was a little bit gutted
60.
about that, because how much did he want revenge on Adam Smith-Neale for denying him a 3rd World Masters? I know how disappointed Glenn was when he didn't win that tournament for a 3rd time. That's better stuff.
And there's nothing better than having a game with a little bit of a grudge in it, isn't it?
Oh, we don't get that at the Lakeside, do we?
Of course we do.
Ted's not here.
Yeah, that's quite down since Ted left, actually.
58.
In the last few legs, Mark McGrath has been tightening his belt a little bit. He's been finding that first dart and playing a lot better. Is it too late?
105.
Good darts to lead 90. Durrant only 1 leg away from taking this contest.
But when it's first to 3 sets, it's never too late.
Well put, Mr. O'Shea. 1-2-5, and you saw the reaction of Glenn to that.
I wasn't impressed with that last
No, not at all. Double 15 for McGrath to square it up in set 3. That is a beautiful, beautiful checkout. Classy stuff. It was the right way to go, and he executed it perfectly. Durrant has this game in his own hands on throw. This is where you want to be, isn't it? Throwing for the match.
Well, as we know, there's certain players in the past would give away that bull in the practice room before it, but this is a perfect example why you should win the bull.
Well, we're looking at a stat screen right now, Tony, that almost, it's actually nicknamed as the fruit machine. Well, at the minute, I'm looking at 7-ton plus scores, 7-ton 40 plus scores, and 7 180 plus scores. The fruit machine in this commentary box is dinging. Something else that's dinging is that 60. Oh, he wanted the 9-darter to finish the match. He wanted to do a John Walton.
The leg before, when he hit 32, he got a bit of advice from that side of the stadium as well. Somebody else shouted then just as he threw that.
Yeah, John Walton, of course, in the World Masters, finished a match with a 9-darter, the perfect time. You know, there's the perfect time to hit a 9-darter is any time, but the best time to do it from a psychological point of view, I think, is the very last leg, because of the adrenaline rush. You don't have to go back and try and win another leg. But it's all in the hands of the man from Middlesbrough right now, 1-1-6 away.
95.
Well, that's not putting any pressure. He's nearly 300 still, but Glenn's here. 116 for the match. Just an awkward dart again there.
How much of that bed can he see? Enough. That is a wonderful dart to give him one match dart, and it's all he needs. Great performance. You could probably classify that for Glenn as steady, but with 7 180s in that match, there are signs that the champ is most definitely here. Is he here to stay? Because that legacy of his that he so desperately craves is still alive for the 3 in a row. He will play against Scott Baker next.